Alright, hi everybody. It's Bonkai 922, Titans of Darkness. I know this is really late. This is so late. Previous month. They came out really quickly. I was really surprised with this manga by Kentaro Miura. I was caught off guard because chapter 2, 3, and 4 got translated in, I believe, 1 month. Let me just make sure of this. Yeah, chapter 2 got translated in on January 14th. Chapter 3, the 22nd, and chapter 4, the 31st. I'm really surprised by it. You know? But yeah, this is just going to be an afterthoughts. I'm not going to really go with a summary here. Just give you my overall thoughts on this series of Gigantomakhia. Hopefully I'm saying it right. So far, from chapter 2, and I didn't read chapter 3 yet, the whole thing. Chapter 2, more or less, what happens is they don't have real... Just make sure. Just trying to find out the title of the page of the chapter. It just says second chapter. It doesn't really... Delos versus Ogun. Gun. They basically... This series so far, we've been introduced to a few characters. We've been introduced to Delos and Prome. Now, Delos, we find out in this chapter, chapter 2, like I said, this is going to be afterthoughts, he's a wrestler. Yeah, he's basically a wrestler who would wrestle in a coliseum during the time of like when, he explains that they were supposed to kill each other in the coliseum, but he wouldn't do that. He would wrestle them and make sure that both him and his opponent would leave alive. And basically, in the beginning of this chapter, he's basically fighting Ogun. It's so hard to say this. And he takes everything he's got from Ogun, and he's able to do... It's basically wrestling. Like I was looking at the manga here, comment section, and people were saying, "Oh, in the future, people wrestle." It was kind of funny. But yeah, that's pretty much what happens. And then he fights him pretty much, and he beats him. It was pretty intense, that fight. That was some crazy shit, because you got to remember, Ogun is part of the hybrid race. They're demi-humans, who are, I guess, from my understanding, the demi-humans, they have characteristics of beetles. Bugs, I believe. And don't quote me on that, because I know one person last chapter I did of this was like, "Oh, I'll give you props for reviewing Kentaro's masterpiece," but saying I flawed the last chapter review of this. But yeah, he's pretty much, he wrestles him and beats him by wrestling. That's what he knows. He does this, the suplex when you carry someone high up and you bring him down. He does that, and he's able to beat him. And by doing that, they get the acceptance of the people there, of the demi-humans. And besides that part, we have the part with Prome. Oh my god. This was so ridiculous. Oh, the artwork also fantastic, of course. And there's a few things that happens. It's very hard to explain this. Oh my god. It was so ridiculous, because supposedly Prome, she has the ability to heal people. Now, I believe in this chapter we find out what ability that is, how she's able to do that. It was just, oh my god. Basically, she's able to do this, and after the fight, he's injured, obviously, Delos, and she's the people don't hate him anymore. They consider him one of their own, kind of, and she tells him that he's not allowed to do that anymore, be that reckless, and she basically has to have him healed real quickly. So she has the ability. Basically, what it is Prome, she can heal people by her liquids. Well, more importantly, if she were to give someone her blood, and that person, let's say, had broken ribs and shit, their ribs would heal. So any of her bodily fluids can heal someone. That includes saliva, blood. Oh man, she pissed on him. Pissed right on his face. That's essentially what happened. And he's like smiling and shit. I'm like, because later on, after that, we have these demi kids show up, and they ask her to heal this bug's horn, and she licks the bug's horn, and it regrows. And Delos just looks at her and is like, "Why couldn't you do that with me?" It was pretty funny. And the rest of the chapter, we basically have, he explains to Ogun about what he did, about his way of fighting, and the whole hatred thing, and don't you hate us? And he's like, no, because if I hated you, I would be the loser. That's basically what he states. And, we have that part. And then they go through that whole thing, and he understands Ogun, and he decides to take them somewhere. And this area is supposedly the place where it explains a lot of things. It explains the whole world. And he was explaining to Ogun about how that is to wrestle. Those who struggle in doing so are wrestlers, to endure the blows, endure you and your opponent. Everyone can live on. So Ugon's going to take them somewhere. Because Delos is asking him, where are we going? He's like, is that really, truly something you could state with such certainty? I will take you to the Patriarch. And then it says on the final page, overcoming one wall to the next, catch a glimpse of the inner workings of this world. And that's the end of the chapter. Now, I haven't read chapter 3 yet. Chapter 3 is I only read a part of it, so I have to read the rest in order to do afterthoughts on that as well. But at least, overall, this was a good chapter, from my point of view. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. Well, I want to give this a 4.5, but 4 out of 5, good artwork, interesting concept, a whole wrestling thing. I found it very intriguing, the fact that, he was fighting in the Coliseum, Delos, and he would wrestle so as not to kill anyone, so that his opponent and himself could leave the Coliseum alive. So I found that very intriguing, that whole concept. Yeah, that whole concept. Good chapter, like I said. I wonder where we're going to go from there. Because I have a feeling that from here on, it's going to get really crazy. been seeing a few things, been hearing a few things about what happens in chapter 3, 4, and 5. So, look forward to that. Like, the artwork is doing well. It looks fantastic. Just mind-blowing. And I wonder the whole thing with Prome and Delos, I wonder where that's going to take us in this series. Because I'm wondering what their goal is. That's the only thing we haven't found out. Their goal. What the whole purpose of this is. Where they're fighting. Because we do see glimpses with Ogun. He brings up something. We see these giants that are attacking people and shit. So that probably means something greatly. Because in the beginning of the chapter, you see these creatures eating things and stuff. So this is going to bring up some stuff later on. But overall, good chapter. 4 out of 5. Action was pretty awesome. Wrestling and shit. Wrestling in the future. You know, that's pretty crazy. I have a feeling when I read chapter 3, 4, and 5, it's going to be a whole new ballgame. So, yeah, it's probably going to get even more crazy. I'm probably going to give them 5 out of 5s. Those chapters. But chapter 3 is probably going to be an afterthoughts. Chapter 4 is going to be an afterthoughts. Chapter 5 will just be a review. Well, it doesn't really matter. Review, afterthoughts, it's the same thing. Give or take. But it was an interesting read. And this series, I can see doing very well. It's doing very well so far, in my eyes. But obviously, once 6 comes out, you know what that means. Return to that. That's going to be insane. But yeah, that's pretty much the story, people. Bankai 9.2, Time to Darkness. I'll upload this probably later in the week, along with the other ones. So yeah, look forward to that. That's all I got for you guys. Look forward to the other ones, the other members doing chapter reviews of series. Hopefully, and get them to get off their asses to do something. But yeah, it should be interesting. I want to hear you guys' opinions on these characters so far. Chime in the comment section below on what you think about them. But until then, look forward to chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5, and I guess the conclusion, chapter 6. So, yeah, that's what I got for you guys. Bankai 922, and I'll see you guys later. Times of Darkness. See ya.